Please remember to like and subscribe for updates, and don't forget to check out the playlist for this manhwa in the description below. Now let's continue. The door to the west revealed a staircase leading upward, prompting everyone to ascend eagerly. As the group ascended the staircase, Fang Xiu surged ahead with unmatched speed, fueled by the last reserves of his drained spirituality and the enhanced strength granted by his enlightened state. Yet, despite his rapid ascent, the ghost effortlessly closed the distance with her elongated strides, swiftly overtaking them all. While suspended from the ceiling, she menacingly demanded the return of the scalpel with her chilling voice. Startled by the sound, they turned to witness her horrifying presence as she hung upside down. Much to their astonishment, she disregarded their presence entirely, rushing instead towards Fang Xiu. With all his might, Zhao Hao yelled, "Brother Xiu, behind you!" Yet, Fang Xiu couldn't evade in time and was swiftly thrown to the ground. With a furious roar, the female doctor unleashed her bloodied mouth, sinking her teeth fiercely into Fang Xiu's neck, ending his life on the spot. Subsequently, Fang Xiu found himself back at the last checkpoint, repeating every action as before. He seized the opportunity to incapacitate Wang Xiao and Wu Dehai, retrieved the scalpel from the ghost, and made a dash for safety. Surrendering the scalpel was out of the question. Its capacity to slice through anything, coupled with its pain-inducing abilities, rendered it a lethal asset. This time, however, he opted for the northern exit. Beyond the northern door awaited the elevator, still functional but frustratingly sluggish in its startup. Just as the elevator doors were about to shut, a large, ghostly hand emerged, seizing him in a chilling grip. There was no escape. To the south lay the operating room, engulfed in chaos with dark bloodstains scattered throughout, a dead end, spelling Fang Xiu's demise once more. With no other options remaining, Fang Xiu turned towards the east door. If this path also led to a dead end, he would have no choice but to relinquish the scalpel clenched tightly in his hand. Thankfully, the eastward passage offered a glimmer of hope. As he traversed it, his mind raced with strategies. Though her speed surpassed his own, Fang Xiu realized he could utilize multiple death rollbacks to anticipate her attack patterns. In a way, reliving his demise allowed him to foresee the future. With each setback, he retained every detail, forging a path towards survival through the labyrinth of his past lives. In his frantic dash down the hallway, Fang Xiu's eyes caught sight of a door to his left. Determined to reach safety, he made a beeline for it, but the relentless pursuit of the female doctor ended his escape attempt abruptly, claiming his life once again. After enduring 9 deaths, Fang Xiu finally grasped the necessary actions and the correct path to take. Entering through the east door, an inhuman roar pierced the air, instilling terror in everyone present. However, as the female doctor charged forward, she bypassed the others and honed in on Fang Xiu. Amidst the chaos and screams, Zhao Hao's voice cut through the panic. "Brother, look above." Fang Xiu ran without glancing back. As the ghost's hand reached out to seize him from behind, he executed a swift dodge, surprising both the ghost and his companions. What astonished them even more was the confident smile adorning Fang Xiu's face. In awe, Zhao Hao found himself speechless at Fang Xiu's audacious maneuver. Without hesitation, Fang Xiu surged forward, putting as much distance as possible between himself and the relentless specter. Fueled by fury, the ghostly doctor unleashed a barrage of strikes towards Fang Xiu. However, to her frustration, Fang Xiu effortlessly evaded each attack, his movements honed through countless death rollbacks. Empowered by his heightened speed and strength, courtesy of his ignited spirituality, Fang Xiu danced around her strikes with newfound agility. Amidst the chaos, Zhao Hao watched in awe at Fang Xiu's incredible maneuvers, while the ghost doctor, consumed by rage, leapt from the ceiling to the ground, screeching at Fang Xiu with fury. Suddenly, Fang Xiu stumbled as if tripped by an unseen force, causing him to lose his balance and fall forward. Seizing the opportunity, the ghost doctor lunged towards him, but with a deft roll, Fang Xiu narrowly avoided her attack and found himself positioned in front of the exit door. Witnessing Fang Xiu's extraordinary evasion skills, his colleagues were left speechless, struggling to keep up with his lightning-fast movements. Could he be the spirit master? Zhao Hao pondered, his heart filled with a mixture of admiration and longing. After all, who among them didn't harbor dreams of transcendent power? As Fang Xiu raced towards the left passage, relief flooded over him as he spotted the bright green light of the safe passage sign. With his heart pounding in his chest, he pushed himself to run even faster, driven by the instinct for survival. But just as he approached the entrance to safety, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. The female doctor, who had been hot on his heels, emitted a shrill roar upon catching sight of the glowing sign. Her voice trembled with panic and fear. Bewildered by her sudden reaction, Fang Xiu couldn't help but wonder, why had she halted her pursuit? Was she afraid of something lurking within the supposedly safe passage? The sudden shift in the female doctor's focus caught everyone off guard as she abruptly turned and charged towards Zhao Hao. However, instead of attacking him, she simply bumped into him, brushing past with her chest as she darted away. The bewildered group watched in astonishment as she vanished into the darkness, leaving them perplexed by her uncharacteristic behavior. Concerned for Fang Xiu's well-being, Zhao Hao hurried to his side, asking if he was all right. Fang Xiu assured him that he was unharmed, but confessed to feeling unsettled by the female doctor's actions. Why did she flee upon seeing the sign? Fang Xiu mused aloud, voicing the question that weighed on his mind. It can only mean one thing, he concluded gravely, there must be a presence hidden here that even the female doctor fears. Beyond the sign lay a corridor cloaked in darkness, its depths shrouded in obscurity. However, faintly visible at the corridor's end stood an iron gate. Conventional wisdom suggested that beyond this gate lay the path to freedom. The revelation sparked surprise in the other two individuals. Could this be the secure passage their colleague had mentioned? The girl, in her astonishment, asserted that survival surely awaited them there. Though eager to depart, caution prevailed over impulsiveness. Sensing Fang Xiu's hesitation, they refrained from reckless exploration. The male colleague addressed Fang Xiu, "Why the reluctance? Is there something awry with this route?" Suddenly, Fang Xiu lowered himself to the ground and advised, "Let's take a moment to rest before continuing." Zhao Hao promptly assented, finding a spot beside him to sit. Exhausted from their prolonged sprint and overwhelmed by fear, the others couldn't dispute the need for a brief respite. With closed eyes, Fang Xiu focused on recuperating his strength, knowing he needed to be spiritually prepared before confronting what awaited beyond the door. The female doctor ghost's retreat had been triggered by the looming menace beyond that threshold. Minutes later, Fang Xiu's eyes snapped open, and he sat up with a sense of urgency. His sudden movement startled the others. "Let's go!" Fang Xiu commanded tersely, setting off toward the supposed safe passage. He proceeded cautiously, his senses heightened as he meticulously surveyed their surroundings, prepared to react swiftly to any potential threat. As Fang Xiu pressed onward, passing the ominous sign without incident, a sense of unease began to gnaw at him. Despite the absence of immediate danger, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. How could the path be devoid of peril when even the spectral doctor had fled upon glimpsing the hallway's door? Drawing closer to the blood-stained metal door, Zhao Hao and the others trailed anxiously behind, their fear palpable. With each step, Fang Xiu's suspicion deepened. Could it be that the true danger lay beyond this door? His mind raced with apprehension as they approached the threshold, the unsettling silence amplifying his doubts. Pushing open the door, Fang Xiu was met with an impenetrable darkness, a void devoid of light, reminiscent of a bottomless pit. Concern etched on Zhao Hao's face, he voiced his worries. "Brother Xiu, is there truly a path in there? Could it be dangerous?" Undeterred, Fang Xiu replied resolutely, "Even if there is danger, we must proceed." Without hesitation, he stepped into the darkness, feeling as though he were being swallowed by an abyss. The darkness was so dense that not even his fingers were visible. Strangely, there was an eerie silence, no footsteps, no voices from Zhao Hao and the others. Fang Xiu couldn't discern if they were still behind him. Attempting to speak, Fang Xiu found his vocal cords vibrating, yet no sound escaped his lips, adding to the surreal silence engulfing him. Attempting to turn back, Fang Xiu realized the door had vanished, leaving him engulfed in darkness with no point of reference except forward. For what seemed like an eternity, he trudged onward through the oppressive blackness. Minutes turned into an agonizing stretch of time, yet the darkness showed no signs of relenting, as if the path stretched infinitely. While such isolation and darkness could drive an ordinary person to madness, Fang Xiu remained unaffected, his heart already darker than the road he traversed. Just as Fang Xiu felt despair creeping in, a glimmer of light pierced the darkness, expanding gradually until it engulfed the surroundings. Slowly, the darkness receded, revealing familiar surroundings. Stunned, Fang Xiu found himself standing outside the mental hospital, illuminated by the glow of streetlights lining the boulevard leading to Bailu Academy. The realization struck him, he had emerged onto the familiar road he had walked before. Suddenly, the other three emerged behind him. "Brother Xiu, we made it. We're out of the ghost's domain," exclaimed Zhao Hao, brimming with excitement. The girl, still incredulous, marveled at their escape from the mental hospital. Meanwhile, the other guy urged them to leave the eerie place immediately and bolted away without a second thought. "Brother Xiao, let's get out of here quickly. What if the ghosts from inside follows us out?" Xiao Hao suggested anxiously, but Fang Xiu remained silent, his gaze fixed upon Bailu Academy. Gradually, his brow furrowed with confusion. Why was the mental hospital gone? While inside, he couldn't see the full picture of the surroundings, but now, upon exiting, he should have been able to spot the mental hospital. Yet, it had vanished, leaving only Bailu Academy in sight. The smooth exit without encountering any danger puzzled Fang Xiu. While he and the others emerged unscathed, the female doctor had simply glanced at the sign and fled. Could it be that the female doctor was somehow restricted from leaving the mental hospital, thus fleeing upon seeing the exit? Unable to unravel the mystery, Fang Xiu found himself compelled to leave, spurred on by Xiao Hao's persistent urging. However, as they walked, Fang Xiu stumbled upon another startling discovery. The eerie occurrences had vanished entirely. The once ghost-filled streets and the unsettling atmosphere were now devoid of any strangeness. What exactly was happening? The sudden disappearance of the inexplicable phenomena left Fang Xiu bewildered and searching for answers. Fang Xiu's heart was a tumult of confusion. He could reconcile the inexplicable escape, even the vanishing of the mental hospital, but the sudden disappearance of the spectral beings from the streets, that was something he couldn't come to terms with. For Fang Xiu, it wasn't just about losing their eerie presence, it was about justice denied. The ghosts couldn't simply fade away, they had to face their fate. With a surge of determination, Fang Xiu raced home with reckless abandon. Beside him, Xiao Hao struggled to keep pace but was soon left behind. As Fang Xiu raced onward, his mind churned with frantic denial, refusing to accept the disappearance of the ghosts. "Especially my dear wife," he muttered desperately, "you shall meet your end only by my hand." After a frantic taxi ride, Fang Xiu impatiently directed the driver straight to his rental house. As the taxi pulled up to the gate of Fang Xiu's building, he abruptly sprinted out like a cheetah, neglecting to pay the driver. The driver's expression registered surprise as Fang Xiu dashed away so swiftly that he vanished in an instant. Fang Xiu ran tirelessly, frustration mounting with each step, only to find his building utterly ordinary, devoid of any hint of the supernatural. This disappointment only added to his growing sense of frustration. Fang Xiu burst into his house, his demeanor wild and frantic. "Wife! Where are you? Show yourself!" His voice echoed through the empty rooms as he searched desperately. Living room, bedroom, even the toilet, no trace of his wife could be found. Overwhelmed by despair, Fang Xiu collapsed, his mind reeling. "She can't disappear. Everyone else might vanish, but not her. How can I go on without you?" he cried out, his anguish palpable. In his turmoil, he couldn't shake the thought, she killed him 18 times. How could she vanish, denying him the chance for revenge? The following day found Fang Xiu lying on his bed, his eyes devoid of expression, as if his very soul had fled, fixated on the blank expanse of the ceiling. With the ghosts banished, his consuming hatred now seemed aimless. What purpose remained in his existence? Suddenly, the shrill ring of his phone shattered the silence, jolting Fang Xiu from his stupor. "Brother Xiu, turn on the news." Xiao Hao's voice came through the receiver, laden with urgency. But Fang Xiu remained unresponsive, lost in his own thoughts. Undeterred, Xiao Hao persisted. "Brother Xiu, they're reporting that Bailu Academy is engulfed in flames." At the mention of Bailu Academy, a flicker of life returned to Fang Xiu's eyes. With a newfound sense of purpose, he reached for his mobile phone to check the news. The first news that flashed across his screen left Fang Xiu stunned. Yesterday at 1949, a major fire accident occurred in the sales office of Bailu Academy in the development zone of Luteng City, and the burned area was about 1,000 square meters. The fire rescue was carried out immediately after receiving the report, and the fire was extinguished at 2200 hours. According to statistics, the accident caused 11 deaths. After absorbing the report, Fang Xiu couldn't contain the surge of suppressed excitement bubbling within him. "It's magnificent, truly magnificent. I knew they hadn't vanished, they were merely playing a game of hide and seek with me." His elation stemmed from the realization that the bizarre occurrences hadn't ceased, and the ghosts hadn't vanished. Could there be anything more gratifying than this revelation? Just then, a notification chimed on his WeChat. It was a message from the work group of the sales office. To Fang Xiu's surprise, the sender of the persistent messages turned out to be manager Wu Dehai. "Fang Xiu, why aren't you coming to work?" The messages flooded in repeatedly. Witnessing this peculiar scenario, Fang Xiu couldn't help but burst into laughter. The deceased Wu Dehai was now urging him to report to work? How intriguing, truly fascinating, Fang Xiu chuckled to himself. A departed soul beckoning me to the office? Quite the spectacle. It dawned on Fang Xiu that after Wu Dehai's demise, he had become a ghost. For the first time in his life, Fang Xiu found himself eager to return to work. However, he refrained from replying in the group chat, intrigued by the possibilities that Wu Dehai could bring to him. As Fang Xiu remained silent, the incessant chimes of his phone notifications grew increasingly intense. In the culmination of this bizarre exchange, a chilling message appeared. "Do you think I can't reach you if you don't reply?" Sent by Wu Dehai. As Fang Xiu gazed at his phone screen, he was met with a disturbing sight, bloody characters strewn across the display, an ominous message forming before his eyes. Slowly, the blood-soaked letters coalesced, coming together to form a chilling sentence. The blood on the screen began to simmer, bubbling like boiling water. Gradually, an eyeball emerged from the crimson liquid, protruding from the phone screen and fixing its unsettling gaze upon Fang Xiu. "Fang Xiu, I see you," came the haunting voice of Wu Dehai, emanating from the grotesque eye. The bizarre scene would have unnerved most, yet Fang Xiu remained strangely composed. After a brief contemplation, he calmly inquired, "When will my commission be paid?" There was a fleeting moment of surprise in the eyeball's gaze, evidently not expecting such a response. "You will receive it as soon as you come to work," the eyeball replied. "Good," Fang Xiu nodded. Without hesitation, Fang Xiu reached out abruptly, seizing the bloodshot eyeball and plucking it from the phone screen like unwanted weeds. "Sorry, but I only have this mobile phone. Please don't ruin it," he stated firmly. The eyeball emitted a plaintive wail before dissipating into thin air, like a bubble bursting. Fang Xiu glanced at his empty hands, devoid of eyeballs or blood. Could it have been a hallucination? He pondered aloud. Things are certainly becoming more intriguing. Let's head to work and see what the ghosts have in store, he decided resolutely. With that, Fang Xiu embarked once again, making his way to Bailu Academy. Upon arrival, Fang Xiu was taken aback to find the entire sales office of Bailu Academy burnt and charred. It appeared to have endured a devastating fire, with caution tape cordoning off the area. Disregarding the warning, Fang Xiu stepped past the barricade and entered the sales office. As he crossed the threshold, the scene before him underwent a miraculous transformation. Fang Xiu found himself back in the familiar surroundings of the sales office, but the once familiar space now lay charred and stained with blackened remnants. Despite the destruction, all his former colleagues were present, including Li Feifei, who had long since passed away. Upon seeing Fang Xiu, Li Feifei rushed towards him, remarking on his early arrival. Fang Xiu, seemingly unable to resist the temptation, stepped forward and squeezed Li Feifei's warm, plump, and elastic breast. "Is that real?" he questioned. Putting her hand on her blushed face, Li Feifei smiled. "I hate that," she admitted softly. Suddenly, Fang Xiu pushed Li Feifei aside and strode purposefully towards the second floor. Once on the second floor, he encountered Zhao Hao hurrying towards him. "Brother Xiu, were you also compelled to come to work?" Zhao Hao inquired. "No, I chose to come. What about Wu Dehai?" Fang Xiu replied, his tone resolute. Zhao Hao paused for a moment, then realization dawned on him. "He's in the office," he responded. With a nod, Fang Xiu continued on his path, determined to find Wu Dehai. As he passed through the office area, he noticed that his deceased colleagues were diligently working at their stations, just as they had before. Just as Fang Xiu was about to enter Wu Dehai's office, the man himself emerged, his expression immediately souring upon seeing Fang Xiu. "Fang Xiu, why are you here? I fired you in the group chat, didn't you see my messages?" Wu Dehai barked, his voice laced with irritation. "When will my commission be paid?" Fang Xiu's calm retort cut through Wu Dehai's tirade. Wu Dehai snorted derisively. "Commission? You still have the audacity to ask for a commission with your work ethic," he began, his words dripping with disdain. "You're still repulsive even in death," Fang Xiu interjected, his voice steady and unwavering. "What are you talking about? Who's dead here? Can't you speak like a decent human being for once?" Wu Dehai exploded in anger. His loud outburst attracted the attention of colleagues throughout the entire office area, who now watched the scene unfold with avid curiosity. The room fell into a stunned silence as a silver glint sliced through the air. Before the horrified onlookers, a gleaming scalpel pierced straight into Wu Dehai's thick neck. And grasping the handle of the scalpel firmly was Fang Xiu. Fang Xiu's calm gaze locked with Wu Dehai's enraged eyes as he uttered calmly, "Aren't you dead now? Fang Xiu swiftly withdrew the scalpel as Wu Dehai's bulky form crumpled to the ground. In the eerie stillness that followed, Fang Xiu noticed his colleagues frozen in place, their movements halted as if they were trapped in a trance-like state, their faces drained of color, even Zhao Hao appeared unnaturally pale. Then, in an instant, their bodies began to contort grotesquely, their necks and spines twisting into unnatural angles. Muscles rippled and bulged beneath their skin as if boiling beneath the surface. Are they transforming? Fang Xiu muttered to himself, realizing he couldn't simply stand by and let it happen. With determination coursing through him, Fang Xiu sprang into action, his movements swift and precise as he darted towards the crowd. One by one, his silver scalpel flashed, slicing through the air with deadly accuracy. In a matter of seconds, Fang Xiu had carved a path through the entire office area, leaving a trail of severed necks in his wake. In a flash, the corpses began to fade away, and the entire sales office shattered like a fragmented mirror, revealing the escape passage of the mental hospital beyond. Beside Fang Xiu, Zhao Hao and the others collapsed to the ground, writhing in agony. Suddenly, in the darkness, a cluster of scarlet eyes locked onto Fang Xiu. These peculiar eyes lacked a defined shape, ensconced within a swirling cloud of amorphous black smoke. A dream? It seems this is your doing, Fang Xiu remarked calmly, unperturbed by the unsettling sight before him. A hoarse and chilling voice emanated from the mysterious eyes. How did you come to realize that you were in a dream? The monstrous figure inquired. Fang Xiu's response was measured. Your illusions are remarkably lifelike, and your insight into human nature is keen. However, it appears you lack understanding of silicone. He proceeded to explain how silicone feels distinct from natural flesh, drawing from his previous knowledge that Fei Fei's breasts were augmented with silicone. Silicone? The monstrous eyes seemed puzzled by the concept. It then questioned, why do you exhibit no fear? Fang Xiu let out a derisive snort. It appears your method of dispatching victims relies heavily on instilling fear. In your illusion, the more one succumbs to fear, the swifter their demise. Moreover, the absurdity of a deceased individual urging me to return to work made it abundantly clear that it was all an illusion. He conveyed to the monster that its deliberate orchestration of bizarre and unsettling events served as a catalyst, reigniting his will to live. This renewed sense of purpose allowed him to see through the illusion and break free. The monster remained silent, its gaze fixed on Fang Xiu with unwavering intensity, as if etching his visage into memory. In the following moment, the monster began to gradually fade away, its parting words echoing a promise to remember Fang Xiu. As Fang Xiu contemplated, he couldn't shake the notion that this particular entity held the power to manipulate dreams, likely responsible for driving away the Doctor Ghost. It dawned on him that perhaps the Doctor was among the weakest of the ghosts haunting the mental hospital. Looking back, Fang Xiu saw Zhao Hao suffocating, his own hands clenched around his throat, veins bulging, and his eyes turning white. Standing by his only true friend, Fang Xiu pondered the sole method to rescue him. Suddenly, Fang Xiu retrieved a scalpel and plunged it into his own neck. As his consciousness faded, he succumbed to darkness. At the sign indicating a safe passage, his colleagues gazed upon it, their faces registering surprise. This time, Fang Xiu bypassed the opportunity to rest and replenish his spirituality. Without hesitation, he proceeded through the door ahead, recognizing that the ghost's ability was to manipulate dreams. To escape this haunted realm, staying awake seemed the wisest course of action. As the door to the safe passage swung open, everyone hurried inside. Emerging on the other side, they found themselves once again outside Bailu Academy. Aware that it was another dream, Fang Xiu wasted no time in stabbing himself in the neck. It dawned on him that Zhao Hao could only rely on himself to navigate this challenge. By conquering his fears, survival became attainable. At this, Fang Xiu turned to Zhao Hao and the others, issuing a warning. Behind this door lurks a monster capable of inducing hallucinations. Terrifying visions will manifest, deceiving you into believing you've escaped the ghost's domain. But it's all an illusion. To break free, you must confront your fears. In this illusion, the more you succumb to fear, the swifter your demise. Addressing Zhao Hao specifically, Fang Xiu continued, remember, everything you witness is false. Don't yield to fear. The key to survival lies in conquering your apprehensions. Then, with a mischievous grin, he added, and if you encounter Li Fei in the illusion, you can touch her. The sensation of fake breasts differs from the real ones. Zhao Hao was momentarily taken aback, his face flushing as he stammered, but I've never really touched that part of a woman before.